What's going on, everybody? It is GameDad7. Welcome to the channel. I hope you've all been enjoying Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. And if you haven't, or you haven't decided to get it yet, possibly what I've got to share today might sway you one way or the other. Or possibly not. But there's been a new patch for the game that will go over what that changes. Some big updates for those who prefer handheld gaming. There's also some Final Fantasy Tactics merchandise updates to go over, as well as a survey from Square Enix regarding Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. The modding community for Final Fantasy Tactics has been alive and well and has released some amazing mods that we're going to go over. So we've got a lot of great stuff to go over here today. And before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank the sponsor for this video, Flexispot. I don't know about y'all, but I'm at my desk a lot, whether it's working from home, playing games, making content, and having the wrong type of chair can, after sitting in it for hours, really hurt my back. I bought this, what I thought was really cool gaming chair, and it's just honestly, after hours and hours of sitting at my desk, gives me pain constantly. So I was looking for a new chair to help alleviate this. And that's when Flexispot reached out, and honestly, I researched the company and everything seemed amazing with their chairs, and that's when I ended up with the C7 Max Chair. It's incredibly comfortable, especially for long sessions of sitting, perfect for working from home. It has a 3D adjustable headrest that you can tilt for the ideal angle for either working or lounging. Combine that with the ability to lean back in this chair, and it really does feel super comfortable. Feels like it's holding you. You can adjust the seat depth, and it's got latex seat cushion with memory foam. So this gives you comfortable seating for up to 12 hours. The backrest is great, and it gives you tons of lumbar support, which is so important when we're sitting at our desk for so long. There's so much room. I could even sit cross-legged in this thing extremely comfortably. It even has 5D armrest and a footrest that comes with this. It's a 30-day return policy for a risk-free trial and a 10-year warranty with direct replacement for damaged parts. You can use my code C750 to get $50 off. Flexispot.com is where you can make your orders. They have a limited budget C5 chair, which is a good quality build with basic functions for adjustments as well, and a newly launched C7 Morpher, which features complete upgrades to the lumbar support and upper backrests. Once again, thank you to Flexispot, and now back to the video. Alright, we're going to start off by talking about the survey that Square Enix has presented about the Ivalice Chronicles. Because if there's one thing I know gamers love to do, that's to give feedback. Whether it's spend all day on Reddit complaining about how this game has ruined their life, or sing from the mountaintops about how this game has changed their life for the better. No better way to do that than directly towards the company with a survey. But just kind of like the Ivalice Chronicles, how it's a little muddy about how, hey, they did this thing awesome right here, but there's also a little bit of stuff I wish they did here. Nothing's, just presented to you on a silver platter with no complaints. This survey is presented to us the exact same way. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so I saw this tweet here from the Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles Japanese Twitter account. A survey in progress. We're currently conducting a survey targeting those who have played Final Fantasy Tactics the Ivalice Chronicles. Then it has a link and an expiration date of November the 17th. So I'm thinking, awesome, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to give feedback directly to Square Enix about Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and also, based on the type of questions they're asking, maybe I can glean a little bit about what their plans are, what they'd like to see. I want to get an idea of what they want to know from us, right? So I click on the link, which then takes me to a Japanese website. Post-game survey for the Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles is now underway. Basically says the same thing about the survey, and they want to get feedback from people who've completed the game, so log in here to answer. Click here to register as if a new member. So then I click to log in, and it brings up the screen that it would if you were to log into the Square Enix store or like the Final Fantasy XIV products or services or whatever. And none of my logins work. So then I read again, and it looks like in order to respond, you will need to log in to Square Enix members using your Square Enix ID, and it needs to be a Japanese account. It cannot be a non-Japanese account. So, okay, I'm going to create a Japanese account just to be able to do this, because I want to see what questions are asking, and I want to give feedback. And I figured if at least I type it in English, maybe someone can translate it, or maybe I can put it in some sort of Google Translator and pop it in there in Japanese or something right here, right? So I go and create a Japanese account, and then it tells me, not only do I need this Japanese account, but I also now need to install a Square Enix app, which is Japanese exclusive. So I tried scanning this with my phone to the Google Play Store, which I can't do. I tried doing it on my home computer to download, which it says I cannot do. I tried turning on the VPN. That didn't help. So I'm sure someone out there can figure this out. At that point, I kind of got frustrated and just, at this point, I figured, they're probably not even going to ask that great of questions or whatever. I read through a bunch of the replies to the tweet, and a bunch of people were complaining about the same thing, about how overly complicated this process was. I had to create an account, download an app, all this stuff, when you should have just been able to click on a survey and take the questions and do polling or whatever they were going to do. A lot of people gave their feedback in the replies to the tweet. Basically, it sounded like it was like a blanket type survey. There wasn't a bunch of, would you like to see, a couple of the following things regarding future updates? I always remember after Mass Effect 3, there was a survey from EA about the future of the Mass Effect series, and they basically gave radio dial options. There's 4, select A, B, C, D choices, and one of them was about the contact wars with Admiral Anderson, and that was overwhelmingly the biggest response and was supposed to be what the next game was about, and then we got Andromeda. But anyways, the survey's out there. I'll put the link in the description. And if you want to go through all the hassle and steps to get it to work and shoot me over some screenshots, that'd be awesome. Or just let me know in the comments if you end up doing that. A real quick merchandise update. So the art book for Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, I got my copy. I was able to get one from CD Japan. I'll post the link in the description of the video about where you can get yours. They shipped it to me. Obviously, your mileage will vary about where you are as far as the shipping cost. It wasn't too expensive though. You might be able to get a sale here around the holidays. I think it's awesome. I also think it's kind of short compared to something like the Tactics Ogre Let Us Clean Together art book. I loved all of the director commentary from Matsuno and the art director and Let Us Clean Together, and I feel like the Ivalice Chronicles art book was just a lot of the art we've already seen. There was a few things that were new and not seen in there. I won't show them here in case you get it and you want to see it for the first time in the book, but I expected more like behind the scenes stuff. But that's not new information. What is that there is now a digital edition of the Final Fantasy Tactics art book. It is available through Amazon. I tried to get a little further in it. It looks like it does require, I believe, maybe a Japanese Amazon account that you could probably make, or there's no shipping involved, right? So it should be a lot easier for you to get your hands on this if you don't want to go through the hassle of the CD Japan, but which I honestly thought was pretty hassle-free, to be honest. But if you want to have a digital copy, that is now available for you. If you didn't know, there has been Final Fantasy Tactics Bring Arts figures on the Square Enix website, and also on Amazon and other retailers that you can get that are really great quality. I have them and I love them. But what's really cool is if you already have those, or let's say you don't want them, there are going to be new options available. We're getting new Final Fantasy Tactics merch. According to the Square Enix Official Goods Japanese Twitter account, we are going to be getting new figures from Final Fantasy Tactics. It is translated so it doesn't look right, but we see Ramzabelv. It says Knight Dicedarg Hyrule, so maybe we're getting Dicedarg as well as Delita, and then Knight Agreus Oaks. So possibly those are 4 right there, or for some reason, Dicedarg and Delita's last name got mashed together, so it might be 3. But they look kind of like mini figures, like you would see for D&D, Tabletop, or Warhammer. They look gray, so I don't know if that means, okay, we're going to have to paint them, or this is obviously just an early rendering. They do have that small base on them, which is consistent with the unpainted Warhammer and D&D and various other tabletop games where you do need to paint them. I say all this as someone who actually paints minis and actually a lot bigger figures as well. I have a 3D printer, and I actually have some Final Fantasy Tactics 3D prints. I'm working on several of them right now. For the small amount of you out there that do 3D print, I highly recommend Ethan Savage on CG Trader. I'm not affiliated with this at all. It's not sponsored or anything. I bought some prints from him regarding Final Fantasy Tactics, and I love them. He's got a lot of them, and it looks like he's actually updated some new ones recently. You can see them here. And if you don't have a 3D printer, or if you do, we can look forward to these new official figures coming from Final Fantasy Tactics. For the handheld gamers out there, which I know Final Fantasy Tactics is insanely popular with, I played the ever-loving god out of my PSP with War of the Lions, and a couple of playthroughs actually on the mobile port on an iPad actually. The Ivalice Chronicles is now officially verified on Steam Deck, so you can expect amazing compatibility and performance on your Steam Deck for the Ivalice Chronicles. The PlayStation Portal just got a huge update, which allows cloud streaming from the PlayStation Premium Collection catalog, but also your digitally owned games on the PSN. And the Ivalice Chronicles is not in the PlayStation Premium catalog, but it is eligible if you own the game digitally on PlayStation, on the PlayStation Network. You can stream it directly to the portal with no PS5 required. What's cool about this is I tried it myself. I can simply turn on the portal, stream it directly to it without turning on the PS5, play the game, and then if I return back to my console and then play the Ivalice Chronicles, everything will save, will transfer directly to it and vice versa. So I can then stop my PS5 session later in the day or at some other point in time, pick up the portal without having to turn on the PS5 like you used to, and I can stream it directly to the portal and play it from there. Some cool updates for the handheld players out there. Before we go over the rest of the news update, I did want to take a moment to stop and say a majority of the people who watch my videos are not yet subscribed to my videos, and I see that a lot of you are returning viewers. So if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and stop and like this video if you would. Consider subscribing to my channel, sharing this with a friend. All of that really helps my small channel grow. It allows me to just get more visibility and let me know that what I'm doing is either working or not working. So I just want to take a moment to review that. Thank you so much. We'll get right back to this update. Next, I want to go over something really cool that's on the Square Enix YouTube. If you're a nerd about Final Fantasy Tactics like me, which you probably are if you're watching this video, there is an awesome Behind the Voices video on the Square Enix YouTube. I'll also link this in the description. You get to know the voices behind the characters of Final Fantasy Tactics. It goes over a lot of the characters. They talk about how they got into the role, some of the challenges, what they appreciated about it. It's about an hour long. It's about 50 minutes. So it's full of a lot of really cool information. And speaking of one of the voice actors, Mr. Harry McIntyre, who is the English voice actor for Mustadio, got a commissioned art piece of Mustadio from Twitter user Tyler Hepner Art, which I've got here shown on the screen. This is a beautiful piece of Mustadio. I just thought it was really cool, and I think it's really special that the person who played this character had someone commission an art piece for it. I just think that's really, really cool. And I had to share this when I saw it. So update version 1.3.0 released on October the 29th. It was a little bit of a stealthy update. And the way they do these updates is they gear it towards the enhanced version and the classic version, right? You got two different games here. So for the classic version, they fixed an error that affected errand reports has been resolved, and certain sound effects have been adjusted. So I'd be interested to see what specifically sound ejects. I think it was possibly due to some of those sound effects. Obviously, they lost the quote-unquote source code, and they had to use a lot of the fan material and ROMs out there to rebuild it. So possibly they kind of maybe miscued on some of those sound effects, and they had to tweak some of them. But the enhanced updates, I thought this was really interesting. Game balance for certain battles when playing in Squire mode has been adjusted. Squire mode is the easy mode for the game, and you can basically point to the battles we all know too well, which are the great filters of Final Fantasy Tactics, and I've seen them been doing the exact same thing in the Ivalice Chronicles, where people will complain that certain battles, the difficulty spike is way too hard compared to the rest of the game. I guarantee they targeted those specific battles and they tweaked the difficulty, because if you're playing on Squire mode, you're playing on easy, so why have those specific battles kick your butt even any harder than they should? So honestly, I think that makes sense. They made easy mode a little bit easier. If you're playing on easy, you don't want to have battles that completely whoop you. That's the whole point, you're playing on easy. They also, certain sound effects have been adjusted, so just like classic mode, they had to tweak some of the sound effects there for enhanced, and other minor issues have been resolved. I haven't seen anything specific for that third bullet point. I am keeping my eyes and ears peeled. If you have seen anything that breaks that down into further detail, please put it in the comments or let me know so that way I can let the people know. I'll also be searching Reddit and other forums to see if anybody has uncovered anything. Maybe the Final Fantasy Tactics community has figured that out. And speaking of the Final Fantasy Tactics community, if we go over to Nexus Mods, we can see that mods are alive and well for the Ivalice Chronicles. Some really cool mods have been here. We've even got Blue and Red Mage. The Dark Knight and the Onion Knight have been added. Really cool thing is Heretic Ramza, whereas he levels up throughout the game, his job abilities change. Cool things like level scaling. You can recruit demons and archdemons and reavers. There's a lot of things with changing the sprites, some random extra battles, War of the Lions characters repair. I mean, there are so many really cool mods that are in here, and this is just the beginning. There's about 2 pages of them right now, and this is just going to keep expanding. I can't wait to see what mods are added to the game because there's some amazing Final Fantasy Tactics mods out there for the PSP War of the Lions and vanilla PS1. As you can see, I've got the Blue and Red Mage mod running here. Taking a look at the first battle, they've got it set on Alicia and Lavian, and they are the Blue and the Red Mage. So you have them for the first battle, and then they get thrown back into you at Chapter 2. Really cool. If you don't know, the Blue Mage learns abilities from enemies, and the Red Mage is like a mix of the Black and White Mage. It's just not as strong as both of them, but you have the utility of having offensive and healing magic in one. So stuff like that is really cool, along with Ramza, changing his job title as he goes from a noble to a mercenary to a heretic, to a gallant knight, and learning some of those abilities, the Fellblade abilities from Gafgarian and whatnot. So just really cool to have mods being added in. And honestly, this is going to be the post game. I do feel a little bad for the console, and Switch players. I beat the game first on PS5. That's where I main it. I also have it on Steam, and that's where I play with some of these mods and have fun with it. This, for me, since we don't have the War of Alliance content, feels like how we're going to get a post game is through the fans, through mods, which is how it's been with the original PS1 and the PSP. I just wish with a new version with the Ivalice Chronicles, it was a little bit less on the fans to kind of carry it, but the Tactics community is honestly the best, so they're going to keep carrying that torch, and they're going to keep Tactics living on. So that covers it for the updates. We had a lot to go over there, and I really appreciate you hanging out. I do plan to make a video showing you how to mod the game if you have the PC version, or let's say you want to go get the Steam version because you want these cool added features. I will show you how to mod the game. I'll go over all the available mods, and we'll walk through it step by step. Also, I'll keep posting more guides. I have the part 2 of my Ultimate Job Guide coming out, which is going to cover Ramza and Agrius and all the main characters. It's going to be just as in-depth as the original Part 1 generic job guide was. And as always, I appreciate you so much for checking out the channel. Again, like, share, subscribe. It helps me so much. You have no idea how something such as small as a like or a subscription can help me. But again, I appreciate you so much. And a reminder that you can purchase the C7 Max Chair using the link and the code that is in the pinned comment in the video. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.